Okay, so let's do a little bit of work on dividing radicals. We have two different examples to look at. Let's just focus on the first one for right now. We cannot have a radical in the denominator, so we need to get rid of it. This is just one term, so we're going to get rid of this one term by multiplying by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. And this is absolutely fine to do because this is just a form of 1. So we'll take care of the bottom first. That's going to be really, really easy. If I multiply these two items together, I'm going to get the square root of 9, which is going to simplify to 3, and the radical's gone, so that's relatively easy. Now on the top, I am going to do some distributing from the right side, and if you wanted to add parentheses here to help you, you could. So this guy times this guy gives me 3 square root 3. Notice I didn't call that 9 because they weren't both under the radical. Plus, and then this guy times this guy, they have the same index, so I can multiply them together and call them the square root of 6. Now this answer is fine. If you're thinking about reducing just these two, don't do that, it's wrong, because that would be reducing terms. My suggestion, if you want to see if you can reduce something, is to separate, and after you separate, you can reduce. So now, yes, that can reduce, and I can call it the square root of 3 plus square root of 6 over 3. Notice I'm not calling that the square root of 2. I can't divide those because he's under the radical, and he's not. So I can have this as a final answer or this as a final answer. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is a little bit harder. Notice I have two terms on the bottom here, whereas here I only had one term, so that made this one easier. This I have to multiply by what's called the conjugate, and the conjugate is just kind of a fancy word meaning that the middle sign is going to be opposite. What that's going to do for us on the bottom, and we're going to tackle the bottom first. When I go to multiply this binomial and this binomial, I'm going to do foiling. So I'm going to do first, and I'll add some parentheses if that helps you with your foiling. That's certainly a fine thing to do. So when we do 4 times 4, we get 16. When we do outside, that would be 4 times negative square root 2. And then when we do inside, that's going to be a positive 4 square root of 2. And then when I do my last terms, positive times negative, negative, square root of 2, square root of 2 is a square root of 4, which I'm going to simplify to 2. Notice these two cancel out, and they will every time. That's why my radical is going to go away when I multiply conjugates. 16 minus 2, I'm going to call that 14. So on the bottom, I've got my 14. Now on the top, it's going to get a little bit messy. Let's go ahead and add those parentheses because I think they help us when we're foiling. So when I do my first, 2 times 4, and I'm going to get an 8. And then when I do my outsides, I'm going to get a minus 2 square root of 2. And when I do my insides, I'm going to get a minus 4 square root of 3. And when I do my last, because they have the same index, it's going to be square root of 3 times square root of 2, so square root of 6. Sorry, that's a little messy. There's no simplifying that I can do of my radicals. There's no addition or subtraction that I can use to combine, so that's it. That's my final answer.